Hey everyone. I realized in some cases I tend to put the cart before the horse. So this video is just intended to show you how to create and share a meeting with your students, your colleagues, your coworkers, which is the same as colleagues, so whoever it needs to be. So I do have my Zoom account already, and notice I'm logging in online. You can also do this through the Zoom app. And I can show that at the end of this video. So I'm going to jump into my account. You'll see I have a lot of options. I've shown numerous times that what I tend to do is just use the personal meeting room, right? That meeting ID never changes. However, there may be times where you're going to have back-to-back meetings where you don't necessarily want someone from the second meeting jumping in while you are delivering the first meeting, in which case you can schedule upcoming meetings. Now, when you schedule a meeting like this, a couple of things are not as important, but just kind of good practice. So I'm going to schedule a new meeting, and I'm just going to call this Classroom Meeting 1. I'm not going to enter description. Feel free to do so. It's good practice to enter the date and time for this meeting, although you don't have to. One of the nice things is if you are an avid Zoom user, you could have this automatically go into your calendar and share with other attendees, etc. Now, with the meeting ID, because your personal meeting ID never changes, you probably want to use the generate automatically. When it's done, you will be able to get a unique meeting ID for that meeting to share with your users. You can require a password if you like. It's not necessary. And you can decide a couple things here, such as, do I want my video camera to be on as soon as I join the meeting? If it's off, it's just going to show your name. You can also decide for participants. Maybe you don't need their camera to be on automatically for you, but you can turn them on or off however you want. Even though you have the option for both, for the basic or free account during the COVID epidemic, the ability to use both has been removed on the free accounts. So you really have to use the computer audio. A lot of times users that are struggling with computer audio are going to find that at least using even just their iPad, Android tablet, iPhone, Android phone, the ability to use the microphone and video is a little bit easier because when you're working on a computer, there's so many things that could be plugged in and using your microphone and video. Other options, you can let people join the meeting even before you get there as the host. You can decide to have people muted on entry. I normally don't use a lot of these things. Maybe the waiting room. The waiting room, though, would require you to let people into the meeting. It could be another way to just use the same one, and that way people they join the waiting room until you add them. Personally, I haven't done that yet, so I'll have to do some research on how do you add someone, what does it look like when they come in. You can automatically save the meeting right away from here so you don't forget to turn it on later. But when you're finished with this, click the Save button. You're going to see that you have some options here to just add this right to your calendar. For example, since I'm a Google Calendar person, I could just hit Add to the calendar, select my account, allow it to do so, and it will basically bring up this ability for me to add it to my calendar. Notice down at the bottom in the description of the meeting is where the information is that people are going to use to join. If you are wanting to do it how I typically do it, just to be a little bit more transparent and have a little bit more control, once I'm done creating the meeting with this meeting ID, I can copy the invitation. Taking this info, you can paste it in an email and send it. You can post it somewhere on your LMS. However you communicate with students, it will give them both the link that they could click from any device that has internet. They could click on that and go to it. Remember, if they're using an iPad, a phone, a tablet, they will need to have the Zoom Cloud Meetings app installed, and it will open that for them. Otherwise, if they're using the program, they could join a meeting and set that ID. So I'm going to go back to my meetings and show you that once you've created one, you're going to have them here. If you're using multiple meetings, this is kind of your dashboard of all my meetings, so that when I'm done with the meeting at 12 o'clock, I click at the classroom meeting one at 1 o'clock. When I click on this, it's going to show me the same information and I can start that meeting. Once again, remember that if you're the host, typically people, when they join the meeting, they are presented with the host isn't here yet, wait for the meeting to start. As soon as you go through the normal steps that you have, at this point, joining with computer audio, you'll start to see the participants pop into the meeting, right? But that is how you create and then how you can share a Zoom meeting with your students, coworkers, colleagues, whoever it is. Perhaps you just want to, kick back and I would say watch the game with a friend after you're done with all of your online teaching, but there's no games on, so you could just open this up and conference with your relatives, your kids, whoever it is. All right, the last thing that I wanted to show you is I actually have the Zoom app on my computer. So you kind of saw this open before, but when I open my Zoom app on Windows, typically it looks like this, right? This just has all of my account settings and things so that I don't have to necessarily go online to do any of these things. So the Zoom app has the same tabs, it just looks a little bit different. For example, here's that classroom meeting that I just shared. When you want to create a new meeting with the Zoom app, you can just click the new meeting. Mine is by default clicking and creating all new meetings with my personal meeting room. So if I'm just making a quick one, otherwise with the Zoom app I would go to here in order to create a new meeting by using the plus button, schedule the meeting, do all the same information. But that's a little bit different. The other thing on the Zoom app is that when you click join, all you need to do, this is why you don't necessarily even need an account. If you go and join a meeting, even from zoom.com, if you were to go and join a meeting, all it's going to ask you for is the meeting ID, and then when you join, it'll ask you what your name is so that people can recognize you. But that's it. Hopefully that will help you in just getting together with your students, with your faculty, with, as I've said before, your colleagues and coworkers. God's blessings.